First, live, local. This is First Alert Weather Extra.
Hey, welcome to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mark Nelson here at KPTV, and we have Camila Ortiz, meteorologist here at KPTV as well. Look how we're here, we're on. We like to do this most weekdays. Now, yesterday, if you were watching, we played the podcast that you and Peyton recorded.
That's right. Yep.
On Wednesday. What was on that one?
Well, we talked about that little cool batch of weather we had, the thunderstorms. We had some really fun viewer photos to go through. And then, of course, we talk about the forecast, what's coming, and a special little term that we're going to be covering right now.
There we go. Okay, so let's get into what are we going to cover. We got the warm and dry weekend. Let's be honest. In today's world, as my son would say, he's 25, say, Dad, I know exactly what's going to happen this weekend, because in this kind of weather, apps are going to do about as well as people.
Yeah, arguably.
But we add the color to it. We add the commentary and whatnot, right?
Right.
That's my theory. That's keeping me employed. We're going to talk about the bit of rain we have for next week. A little bit.
Yeah.
We're not going to see 2 feet of mountain snow. That's not going to happen.
No.
Oh, there you go.
There's the term, super El Nino. So if you've seen that floating around, maybe just in the super nerdy weather communities.
I've seen it in the news sites.
Okay. So
just
yeah,
like polar vortex,
maybe the everyday person is like, what's this?
Yeah, I'm afraid with the media that's what's going to happen coming up. They just, they grab things and just run with it.
The clickbait,
So we'll explain what that is.
Yeah.
All right,
I'll
cover this. You're getting ready over there, so that's okay.
Okay.
All right, so Mary Hill, that's a live view. So a lot of high clouds. Oh, there's some geese or something flying by there. A lot of high clouds. We're going to see that again, actually over the weekend, even though it's really nice weather. We don't have perfectly blue skies. Now, at times the skies will be totally blue, but it just looks like a lot of high clouds streaming overhead. Hey, one other thing going on here. We're recording this in case you're watching. We keep these, we don't tape them anymore. They record them digitally, but they're sitting on our weather page, kptv.com. You can also find them through our app. But in case you're watching this later, sunset is about an hour from now, 8 o'clock in Portland. That's the first 8 p.m. sunset. 3 weeks from now, it'll be about 8:30. So now we're into the latest hour of sunsets of the season. So it's almost like solar summer, almost, I guess you could call it, right? That kind of makes sense.
Sort of.
Sun is getting pretty high up in the sky. So we did make it to 60. It was noticeably warmer. Camilla, you noticed? Yep.
It felt good out there.
A little warmer today. Started cool, but we'll talk about that in a few minutes. If you just look at the last 30 days, what I have here, I like to show this once in a while. We only use this on First Alert Weather Extra because we take a deeper dive. It's a lot of numbers and a lot of bars for regular TV. But normal high, normal low at PDX in Portland there. And each bar goes back, we've got 30 days there. That big warm spell, 73, 79, 79, this was right over Easter weekend, remember? And then it happened again late last week. And then we've had 3, 4, 5 days in the 50s, so it's been kind of cool. But this is typical spring for us, up, down, up, down. And now today we're closer to normal. Now we're going to go above normal. I think this number is not updated over here. I think it's 2.0 degrees. So we're running 2 degrees above average, even with those really cool days. Wow, Tuesday and Wednesday only 51. We were in the 40s a good chunk of those days. And now rainfall is about average. Because in a typical April at the end of the month, which is still almost 2 weeks away, 2.9 inches. So my guess is we're going to come up, we're probably going to get that, or we're going to get very close if we don't get it. Next big change, it's here. We like to kind of gravitate towards, do we see anything significant coming up? It's here. Much warmer this weekend, dry through Monday, no frost risk. Frost risk. Why can't I say that?
That's tricky.
Weird.
That's a hard one.
I'm not crazy, right?
No, frost risk. Frost
No
risk.
chance for frost.
There you go.
Much better. All right, so I had 2 days off. I took Wednesday and Thursday off. Today's Friday, okay? And when I left on Tuesday, I said, I was being all pessimistic about the weekend. I said, it looks like it's Saturday afternoon, some showers may show up. Sunday, forget it, it's an indoor day. I already had it in my head like, oh, it's, afternoon nap with the cat thing inside. Nope, that's changing because, and this has happened several times late winter and early spring, where we see a weather system getting organized off the coast and upper level low. The main flow is way up here, but it looks like this system, more of it's going to dive to the south, the splitting action going on in the jet stream. This isn't the best view of it. We actually have surface high pressure over us right now, giving us a nice weather. There's a surface low developing out there behind the atmosphere. See that big cold trough out to the west? Look at that. We go now through Sunday evening. It's going down there. At one point, it looked like the center, I believe, on Tuesday when I left, it was going to be about here.
Yeah.
More splitting going on, sending more energy south. Not like it's hammering California, but it's just staying a little farther west and south than we originally expected. It's still the main flow up here, and we call this a cutoff low because it's cut off from the main flow.
Peyton and I mentioned that the weather word of the last several months should be splitty. We've just seen this over and over again. A
lot of splittiness going on.
Yeah.
That's right. Once we get to Tuesday, here's midday Tuesday. This is almost that thunderstorm pattern we had. What day was that? Was that Monday? I don't
Wednesday.
remember.
Well, we had a couple days of thunderstorms.
No, not the weak thunderstorms we had midweek where we had the hail showers. I mean, like, maybe it was.
Yeah,
must have been Monday, Sunday, Monday, where we had we had thunder west side of town.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's almost that southeasterly flow again around Tuesday. Probably not a thunderstorm pattern for us, but we'll keep an eye on it. Either way, we start to turn showery, and this whole discombobulated mess moves through the middle of the week. This is Wednesday afternoon. Other models actually do not have this second little low here. When I was doing my forecast today, I noticed other models have this out here. And we probably then dry and stay temperatures about average later next week, maybe a little above average. All right, so look at the cloud. I'll just fly through this. You can see the effect of the rain and the clouds through the whole weekend. Saturday, Sunday, Sunday evening, Monday. Yeah, see how the action is on or offshore. It is on the coastline or to the west. Finally, later Monday, maybe a little better chance. The other thing going on, it's interesting, this doesn't promote any sort of significant surface wind. Look at the peak forecast gusts here in Portland for the next 24 hours. Is anything interesting there? No.
Not at all.
10. That's the gust. That's not even the average speed. So, wrap it up. Tomorrow, coastline looks great. Mainly sunny and warmer. 67 at Tillamook, low 60s. Not much wind at the beaches either day. West winds 5 to 10. Here in the valleys, mainly sunny and warmer, about 70. Light wind there. We'll go 72 at Portland. In the gorge, that's the one place there'll be a little bit of an easterly breeze. Vista House, Multnomah Falls, a breeze in the morning, then it goes calm probably. About 70 or so. There'll be a touch of frost. Are you covering that? Okay, I won't talk about that. 62 at Government Camp tomorrow. So the melt is on up there, the fresh snow. I heard Timberline was jammed yesterday.
Oh, I bet.
And also on, Wednesday too, probably during the snowstorm. And then east of the Cascades, nice. Mainly sunny and warmer. About 60 coming up at Baker City. About 72 at Pendleton. All right, so at the beaches, as I mentioned, pretty nice weather. Some high clouds. That's our live view at 7 p.m. or so. Both days look really nice at the beaches if you headed out there or want to head out there. Light west wind both days. I guess more of a west-southwest wind on Sunday, maybe southwesterly. A little warmer Sunday versus Saturday. Same amount of thin high cloud cover out there as well. Is that all I have? Oh, yeah, no, I do want to cover this. 2 more graphics. Tomorrow, we'll go 72 in Portland again. Thin high clouds, just a really nice spring day. 2 more graphics, sorry. 3-day forecast. Warmest day we think is Sunday. There, I notice we can talk like this on this show, Camilla.
Very casual.
Casual. I notice about 2 to 3 millibars easterly flow through the gorge on Sunday.
Okay.
Warm season, that's icing on the cake. That's why I bumped the temp up.
Nice.
Assuming the high clouds aren't too thick.
Right.
If they're too thick, that can knock the temperature down. Monday, a bit cloudier, 75. All 3 of these days are dependent on the cloud cover. Okay, I do have the 7-day. No, I don't. Okay. That's all. Do you have the 7-day? Because I have.
You know what? I do think I threw. Ooh, excuse me. We're both still. Can you tell we're getting over like colds?
Right.
And it's just been a disaster. We're coughing in the weather center, making the directors all upset.
All
right.
New monitor looks really nice, by the way.
It does, right? Our new set has just been really beautiful. One thing I wanted to note that I didn't include in a graphic, speaking of the mountains, because you said, the Timberline was so busy, they got about 20 inches, I think.
They did. A little
Tuesday,
over 20.
Wednesday, yeah. So the models did a pretty good job. They were spitting out about 1 to 2 feet of snow from that system. So anyway, yeah. Nice, cool system, so that's meant some cold temperatures to start our days. Here's what our low temperatures look like today across the metro area. Not as chilly as yesterday, so not as chilly as Thursday morning, but you can see some of those outlying spots still got down into the low 30s. 33 today in Hillsborough, 33 in McMinnville. So some areas of patchy frost. I know there was a frost advisory and even some freeze warnings for like the upper Hood River Valley for this morning. So now things are going to be warming up. We should be past that point. Here's a look at our Portland low temperature forecast. So we're going low 40s to kick off your Saturday, and then getting quite warm there. Sunday through Tuesday, low 50s, and then popping back down into the 40s. So our main point is most locations probably going to be done with the frost. Of course, there's going to be the exceptions, the foothills, higher elevations, those sorts of areas. So Let's take a look at when our average last spring frost is. This is using data that goes back the last 30 years. In Portland, it's usually in March, about the middle of March, middle to end of March. So we've extended that a little bit this year. And then notice to our south, Salem, Eugene tend to stay a little bit chillier for longer. Last frost there happens in about middle of April, so about this time of year. We can also check out central and eastern Oregon here. As you can imagine, those dates get pushed into the summertime in the high desert here. So June, July for some of those spots there in central Oregon. So Sisters, on average, doesn't get that last frost until July 2nd. I think Mark just changed my graphic, but that's okay. I was ready. It's like you were reading my mind. This is from the Climate Prediction Center. This is our 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. So taking you beyond the 7-day forecast, you can see our little corner in the Pacific Northwest. We're kind of leaning above average. That's sort of the pattern. Definitely above average temperatures expected in the southeast. And then if we take a look at the rain forecast, above normal precipitation expected in the desert southwest. Meanwhile, our little corner here in the Pacific Northwest leaning below normal. So we'll see what happens. Like Mark mentioned, it looks like for the entire month we'll probably be around average in total. All right, here's that 7-day forecast. I knew we had it in here somewhere for you. So we're going 70s for the next 3 afternoons. So that's, you know, going to feel a little bit more like May, maybe June even, getting close to 80 degrees again there on Sunday. Here's when that next system comes through, Tuesday, Wednesday. Not going to cool us down too much, but might pop us back down into the upper 50s there on Wednesday. Also going to be breezy that day, I believe out of the south. When I was checking the wind gusts, and then a few showers there Thursday, and then potentially drying out again with another maybe stronger ridge forming at the end of next week. So we'll have to see what happens there. Again, sorry for the coughs and the sniffles. We're just going through it. But I have a toddler in daycare, so I have more of an excuse than Mark does. I guess you're traveling a lot though too. So.
What a world traveler.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Should we get into our El Nino talk?
I think we should.
Let's do it. I'll wait till it transfers back over to you.
Is it on? It says it's on.
Yeah, looks like it.
Can you hear me now?
Did you turn your mic off to cough again? I think Mark turned his mic off to cough. This happens all the time. Got to give it a few seconds to warm back up. And 3, 2, 1. Mark, do we have you?
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Nope, still on me.
Oh,
so
yes, we can
there
hear
you
me.
are.
Very good.
Hey, there he is.
So, very first graph, we're going to talk about El Nino. What is El Nino? I don't think we've done that on the 7 p.m. weather for a while.
I don't think so.
I don't think we have. You
No.
covered it in the podcast.
We did.
This very first graphic is incorrect.
Yeah,
It's
where'd
an
you
El
pull?
Nino watch.
Oh,
I
this,
pulled
yeah.
up an old graphic here.
Okay.
It's an ignore this. El Nino watch is in effect. So what is El Nino? For one, we are in weak La Nina. We're kind of going to neutral conditions here. But El Nino, Pacific Ocean, all right, when we get warmer than normal water, all right? And that's when we get warmer than normal water across the central Pacific. Actually, that is the current view, and it's kind of neutral along the equator. We care about the tropical Pacific because you're thinking, or people, you know why, but people may be thinking, why do I care about the tropical Pacific? I'm not going to Tahiti.
Right.
But it affects whether the weather effects from that massive warmer than normal or cooler than normal in a La Nina, that those effects radiate out across the globe through the atmosphere.
Exactly. Yeah, where those pockets of the warmer rising areas. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I have to admit, I threw this graphic in at the last minute, so some of the information is incorrect. This is true. Yes, warmer ocean affects weather around the region.
Yep.
Ignore that part. The last 6 winters, 4 of them were La Ninas.
Okay. Yeah.
Or is it 5? Yeah, we've had a lot of La Nina winters, okay, where the ocean water's been cooler than normal. Models are forecasting a moderate or maybe strong event.
Yeah.
Or a very strong event. It's early in the season.
Yeah.
There's something called the spring forecast barrier, right, where the models don't do as well until we get to like June. Okay, now we're going hardcore here.
Here we
folks.
go, nitty-gritty stuff.
Here we go. Basically, this just shows the sea surface temperature in the middle of the Pacific in the tropics. Average is here, the 0 line, okay? Right now is over there where Camila is. See that right now? Okay, there we go. When the numbers are negative, we're in La Nina territory. It's cooler than average. When they're positive, it's warmer than average. And this takes us from now all the way through next November, December, January. And clearly the trend is to go well above the line, right?
Yeah, and each line is a different model.
Right.
And there's what, about like 20 or so
a whole
on
bunch
here?
from Japanese, Meteo France, France's weather service. This syntax, that may be, is that Korean maybe?
A couple Australian models.
And in fact, the thick lines are helpful because the red line is a dynamic model average. Red line, it's going up to pretty high. And then the green, I think, is statistical models, which is based on statistical. We don't run any of this, we just share the information. And when it gets up to plus 0.5, that's when we're in El Nino territory.
Right.
So it's forecasting by summer we're in El Nino territory. When it gets above and that's a weak El Nino, right?
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
When we get to 1, that would be a moderate El Nino.
I believe that's correct.
And when you get to 1.5, that's a strong.
Yes.
All right, it would be the same for La Nina in reverse. Let's see what we have next year.
Yeah.
But you may have heard the term super
El Nino. Yeah, so you saw this on we've seen a few articles floating around.
I've seen it on a whole bunch of news articles.
Yeah, yeah. So what does that mean exactly? Well, once sea surface temperatures get to that 2-degree mark above average,
which is rare,
for several months, which is very rare, that's considered a super El Nino then. It has happened in the past, but again, they're quite rare. So 1997-98.
I remember.
And 2015-16.
I remember.
Would have fit this category. And then so it's basically just a very strong El Nino. But we were looking, right, at the historical, these strong examples, and nothing above basically 2.25 is where it has capped out historically.
Yeah, so those are the strong ones, and we should mention that's not an official definition either.
Right.
Kind of like accepted, kind of like, what's another word? An Arctic front. There's not really a specific definition of an Arctic front in the Pacific Northwest, but you kind of know when
you can't find this term in the NOAA glossary.
Right.
Yeah.
The glossary of meteorology, because I'm sure you have one on your bookshelf.
Who doesn't? Bookmark that.
Yeah. Let's see what we have next here. We're just going to go through some of this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's do the patterns. There might be a little more Super Nino talk. Let me actually, you know what? Let's back up.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go again. We have to wait for it all. There we go. 97, 98, that was a really strong El Nino. And that winter we had, it was really mild and wet.
Okay. Do we have the stats on what happened up in the mountains?
I do for the snow on Mount Hood, and I think, maybe not for Mount Hood, but I know I have it for Portland. 2015-16, that one was a really mild winter.
Okay.
For us. We tend to have either mild and dry or mild and wet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we want to get into.
Which is what we just had.
Right. Yeah. What does this mean for us in the Pacific Northwest?
This is hardcore too. Pressure patterns. This is El Nino and La Nina. This
just comparing the differences.
Where are we looking at? What's the height? Oh, 300 millibars. So this is jet stream level.
Yes.
Basically, jet stream tends to be depressed to the south and very strong down here into California or the southern latitudes in an El Nino. Whereas with a La Nina, you tend to get higher, a splitting of the jet stream, kind of like we've seen at times here and there. All right, so that's what we tend to get. Here's maybe a little better layman's look at it. In El Nino winters in the Pacific Northwest, typical jet stream is kind of wavy, right? Well, in a jet stream in El Nino winter, more of the southern jet is stronger instead of this northern jet. We tend to get areas of high pressure more often, maybe more stagnant weather over maybe Western Canada. I remember the Whistler Olympics, or the Vancouver Olympics in 2010, they had to bring snow in. It was so bad for snow. Are you going to be okay?
I'm back. I could
have
a cough attack at any moment.
Here.
My goodness.
We tend to get more splitting of the jet stream. So sometimes we've had stagnant, like 2 or 3 weeks of like no weather.
Yeah.
Although that happened this winter too in January.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but part of the reason for this is because the trade winds are weakened, right? So that helps that southern jet.
Is that what I saw you looking at when I came in from my last
segment? Yeah, I had to refresh my memory.
You were looking at the Hadley cells.
Yeah.
She was going hardcore.
I was. Well, because it's like, how does everything link together, and it's like a domino effect on something else.
Right. So southern jet stream often stronger. I think they also tend to be a lot wetter across the southeastern USA.
Yeah, that like rakes all the low pressure systems
California
across the
and that adds
southern
up to,
half.
on average, wetter than normal there, drier and warmer than normal. I think there's a big signature across the upper Midwest for drier, or milder, or drier, maybe both.
Yeah.
And for us, now here's a big qualifier. Most El Ninos follow this pattern, but not all.
Right.
There we go. Good chance we have a mild winter coming this coming year, which is like, well, what's different than this year because it was mild. But, we can get a brief snow, ice, or storm event during a mild winter, which just happened in the last El Nino. Remember January 2024?
Right.
Remember when we had the high where it sat in the teens all day in Portland and the wind was bringing down trees in the West Hills? That was during an El Nino winter. There was 7 days of crazy. The whole winter was mild otherwise.
Yeah. So that can happen.
There we go. Cascade snow. December, January. Oh, I just took the middle of winter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the peak of winter when I really care about skiing, December, January, February. Lower ski area elevations, likely below average, is what we would see in a winter like this. Warmer storms or drier periods, many of these winters. But there's a better chance of good snowfall high up. We tend to have warmer storms. That's just what happened this year.
Again, it just stinks because it's like, okay, so we're gearing up for basically the same winter we just had.
Maybe.
Bummer.
I mean, let's be realistic. It probably won't happen the same, but the odds are tilted towards that.
Right.
Government camp, winter normal total, 132 inches. This is, oh, that's just during those 3 months, yeah, right. 132 inches, and you can see a lot of those El Niños were kind of stinker years, less than that. Yeah, but 2023, 24 did okay, 181 inches. There you go. Portland snow, decent odds of seeing at least some snow in an El Nino winter. Does not mean no snow. And I just put this number in. Remember that we had 1.6 inches out of that big cold ice fiasco. There's more freezing rain than snow. But we've had 4 snowstorms, kind of shut down the city sort of thing, in the last 10 El Nino winters.
Yeah.
So I think there's something may happen.
And let's be honest, it's going to be tough to have a worse snow year than this past year, right? Even in an El Nino.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if it was worse.
Although this year I said I'd be shocked if we didn't get one little snow event at least, and even that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So that's your El Nino update. It's only April, so we'll talk about this as we go through the summer. And fall, we'll hit it big time.
Isn't there another update that you said comes out in like just a few days?
I should point out that graphic that showed all the models.
Yeah.
New one comes out on Monday.
Right.
Once a month.
How? Oh, it's once a month. Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
The 19th, unless the 19th is on. I just looked today. It's like, when does that new thing come out?
Yeah.
Unless it's on a weekend.
And we tend to see more and more of the models, start to kind of agree with each other more.
They get better. They get much better once we hit June, typically. It's called the spring forecast barrier. But they're all saying the same thing now, which is interesting.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Did we cover, you did the 7-day?
We did, but it's always good to pop it up again. Then
we're done. The next chance for showers is later Tuesday, Wednesday, and maybe leftover Thursday. Just beyond that, most models are kind of mild. You did your 6 to 10 day, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Maybe milder and drier than
leaning
normal.
a little, warmer and drier.
Okay, we're both about to cough again, a little scratchy.
We're gonna go get some cough drops and some tea. It's gonna be fine.
Thanks for joining us, folks. Enjoy the weekend, and we will see you back here on Monday at 7 p.m. with your First Alert Weather Extra.